Now, maybe there is some tiny, infinitesimally small portion of the population that, for whatever reason, would find it appealing to dress up like a woman and go into the bathroom, like Crowder and other Republicans claim. But honestly, what's the fucking appeal to this? Like, wow, I get to listen to people take a dump. I get to watch them wash their hands. Yes! It's gonna be so exciting. I'm just like, dude, maybe there are some creeps that for some strange reason get off on that, but it's just like, to frame it and position it like there are so many people in this country who would do that it would be some sort of nationwide epidemic, I think that's just completely fucking absurd. Now, what about the sexual assault argument specifically? This Crowder, he made some sort of safety argument in that video, and Republicans, they make this point all the time. And really, I think they just do not think through the logic of what they're saying here. Because, the argument they make, they're like, if you enact these pro-trans bathroom policies, pervert men, they're going to put on dresses, and they're going to go in there to sexually assault women. But I'm just like, dude, what does the fucking dress have to do with anything? Like, he could just walk in there and sexually assault them. He doesn't need to wear a fucking dress to do it, Like, there's not some force field at the entrance of a women's bathroom where it's like, you're wearing a dress, you can come in. You're not wearing a dress, So it's just like, what does the fucking dress have to do with anything? It's totally irrelevant. Or it's like, what's stopping a pervert man from going into a men's bathroom and sexually assaulting a young man? He could even wear a fucking dress while he does it if he wants to. Like, there's no law written in the pervert handbook that says you must be wearing a dress when you sexually assault someone. It's just like they don't even think through what the fuck they're saying here. So, what the person wears when they commit a fucking sexual assault, what the transgender bathroom policies are, all of this is just completely irrelevant to a conversation about sexual assault. In that Hazenbush et al. Study from earlier, they write the following, quote, "Additionally, the study finds that reports of privacy and safety violations in public restrooms, locker rooms, and changing rooms are exceedingly rare," end quote. And this is not at all surprising, because it's like, what kind of fucking moron would go into a public bathroom to sexually assault someone? Like, at a crowded Walmart, for example, where at any moment, several people could just walk in and catch you red-handed with your dress around your ankles. It's just like, what kind of fucking idiot would plan out this sort of sexual assault? I mean, this would have to be the dumbest fucking criminal on earth. He's like, all right, how am I going to do this? I could do a sketchy back alley. Maybe I could do some sort of like secluded, isolated walking trail late at night. You know what? How about the public bathroom at Denny's? Where if the woman screams, the whole fucking restaurant is going to hear it. That's where I'm going to commit my sexual assault. I mean, this is not exactly a criminal mastermind here that we're talking about. And it's just like, look, even if conservatives were right about this, that this did happen, that there was some sort of harebrained, Wile E. Coyote type sexual assault epidemic of, perverts putting on dresses to sexually assault people in bathrooms, literally like something out of a Sunday cartoon show. Even if this did happen, transgender people would not be the problem here. This would be cis men cynically exploiting transgenderism for their own perversion. So, like, what bearing does this even have to a conversation about transgender individuals and the validity of their experience and what policies should center around them? Because you're really talking about a totally different group of people just exploiting their identity. Sexual assault, also consider, it would still be a crime if we had these pro-trans policies in place. It's not like this suddenly greenlights sexual assault, and it's like we're powerless to do anything about this. I mean, they would still get fucking locked up and thrown in jail for this. So, I'm not sure why they position it like, oh no, it's gonna open the door to this. It's still a fucking criminal offense. And really stop to consider the stupidity of trying to enforce these sort of anti-trans bathroom policies. Like, how would you enforce this? Are we going to have mandatory genital checks at the entrance of bathrooms before you can enter, where we have to, examine the genitalia to make sure that, you're good? Yeah, you're going to the correct bathroom? How much is that going to cost the taxpayers or these private companies to station somebody there with their fucking rubber gloves to do an inspection every time you need to take a fucking piss? Republicans, they'll say things like, well, women would be uncomfortable just knowing that there's somebody in the bathroom with them who has a penis. And, here's my question for them. How, unless you checked their genitalia, how would you know it's a trans person? How would you know that they have a penis? Like, I don't know what Steven Crowder's typical bathroom experience is like, but mine generally do not involve comparing my genitals with the other people in there. So how would you know they have a penis? Like, setting aside this right-wing caricature of the bearded lumberjack who puts on the pretty pink dress and goes in there, just a normal fucking trans person living their life, minding their business, going about their day. How would you know that they're a trans person? How would you know they have a penis? Unless you examined it, And what if it's, there's post-op trans people and there's pre-op trans people? What if it's a post-op trans person where they've had the surgery and, their genitals have been altered? And so they don't have the penis. Like, is that acceptable under this criteria, or does it need to be authentic female genitalia for it to meet their threshold? And I really just have to reiterate that this is a fucking bathroom that we're talking about here. Like, you go in there, you take a fucking dump, you wash your hands, and then you just move on with your life. The idea that at any step of this process, transgenderism somehow poses some sort of safety risk to the other people in there is just completely fucking outlandish. Now, in terms of the whole safety and sexual assault and perversion arguments, I think conservatives are definitely on better footing in terms of locker rooms versus bathrooms, where people just fucking take a dump in a bathroom stall and, wash their hands in a sink. It's like going into a locker room where people are getting undressed and naked and changing. I feel like that would definitely have much more appeal to some sort of pervert trying to get in there and ogle people, But really that same logic from earlier applies here as well, where it's like forcing these trans women to get naked in a men's locker room. That would just be completely inappropriate. Not just for them, based on their gender identity, but also for the other people in the locker room, using this Republican criteria of sameness of genitalia and outward physical shell. So it's just clear that their policy preferences are not the correct answer, whether we use our criteria or theirs. It's not the right way to go about this. And the logic that they're using here regarding, perversion in locker rooms, it's not being applied consistently across the board. Because what they argue, they say, look, pervert men, they're going to take advantage of this. And they're going to go in there to ogle naked women who are changing. Because, they're sexually attracted to them. And by that same logic that they're using, shouldn't we exclude homosexual men from men's locker rooms? Because they could be going in there, maybe it's some pervert homosexual who's trying to sneak a peek at some attractive men while they're naked, just to take a peek at them. Lesbian women could be doing the same thing. Maybe there's some lesbian who goes in there and she's taking a look around. She likes what she sees. What about bisexuals? Where's a bisexual going to change at? Because, you put him in the men's locker room, he might be ogling the men. Put him in with the ladies, he could be ogling the ladies. So, they're completely fucked. Like, where are they going to change at? So why would we have a policy that only punishes just one group of people and only singles them out? And why would we collectively punish trans people because of people who are falsely claiming to be trans just for their own cynical perversion? None of this makes any sense, and the logic is just not applied consistently. And, just as with sexual assault in bathrooms, if you had somebody who was just openly staring at naked people in locker rooms and just being a total creep and a pervert and just weirding everybody out and making them uncomfortable, it's like, what does transgenderism have to fucking do with this? The fundamental problem here is creepy perverts weirding everybody out. Like, transgenderism is not the fucking problem here. It's not the core crux of the issue. Like, you could have a gay man in a men's locker room who's ogling people, and, it would be the same problem. So the transgenderism, it has nothing to fucking do with it. And if there was somebody who was just being this massive creep and pervert in a locker room, just like ogling people, and he's just a total weirdo he's got like a boner or whatever, and he's just like, just like looking at everyone and just making them super uncomfortable, they would get kicked out of the fucking place. Like, he would get banned from the facility. They'd probably call the fucking cops and be like, hey, there's this extremely strange pervert in here freaking everybody the fuck out. Can you get him out of here? Depending upon the severity of what he was doing, he'd probably get prosecuted for some sort of sexual harassment type charge. So again, it gets back to that point that these pro-trans policies don't somehow green light or give a thumbs up to sexual assault or sexual harassment or any of these things that people are complaining about. And there would still be laws and policies in place and measures that we could use to fight against this and guard against it. So again, it's just like, what the fuck does transgenderism have to do with this? Really, regardless of how you look at this, Republicans, they're just wrong at every single level. I'm on Patreon. There's a link in the bio if you'd like to support my work. I would really appreciate it. There's also some links in the description to my social media sites if you want to follow me on there. Help me build up those followings. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe, hit the bell, comment, like. You know the fucking drill on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.